My 19 female parents are estranged to a certain degree from all 4 of their kids, which besides me are 30 male, 28 female, 25 female. This is about my 25-year-old sister. We'll call her Melissa, but not her real name. So, PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome, runs in our family. My mom knows this, as many women from her side have had struggles with fertility, insulin resistance, or even just hair growth, like for me, in areas where women typically don't grow hair. My mom and our dad would constantly criticize us for having oily hair. Another symptom of PCOS, high testosterone can cause excess oil production, as well as struggles with sugar cravings and weight. They kicked my sister off their health insurance when she was my age, saying she could work part-time and pay for college and food and medical as long as she worked smart and was humble. But she eventually got into real estate and did well for herself, enough to get good doctors. I mention this because before getting a doctor who understood, she'd respond to the insecurities my parents imposed about her weight, where they'd pinch her fat, buy the aspirational sizes that didn't fit her, and tell her always to eat a quarter of any portion of what she's given at the most, no matter what, was basically not to eat. When she got lightheaded, my mom would tell her to drink water to fill her stomach instead of eating lunch. So, despite PCOS, she did become very thin because, again, she was maybe eating 3 crackers and a bit of cheese for breakfast and lunch and would skip dinner. She finally began gaining weight and is now at a healthy weight without needing to break her spirit and energy to maintain it. But she recently made the mistake of friending my parents on Facebook, and they decided that she's the type who gains weight in her stomach first, meaning even healthy weight, she's 5'6" and 120 pounds, makes her look obese. So my dad reached out to her, exchanged pleasantries, and then sent her a few diet pill recommendations he said she could get at Walmart. Minutes pass and she sends a link to a nursing home. It has 2.3 stars on Google, and on Yelp it's even lower. It's the worst rated in our area. My parents were in an uproar and my mom tearfully said she was just concerned about my sister's health. But I started laughing and said it was objectively funny, but I don't think Melissa would pay for a nursing home. My mom then tried to make it about me lacking accountability for my own weight. Am I the idiot for laughing? Now they've blocked Melissa. Not the idiot. It's hilarious how your sister expertly shut down your parents' diet pill suggestions with a nursing home recommendation. That takes some serious dedication and creativity. Kudos to her for handling the situation with humor and grace. And don't let your parents make it about your weight. They clearly have their own issues they need to work through. Keep laughing. It's the best medicine. Absolutely agree. Your sister's response was top-tier pettiness. Honestly, they had it coming after years of criticism and unsolicited advice. Humor is a great way to cope with situations like this, and she nailed it. Also, don't let them project their issues onto you. Laughing it off and keeping your boundaries strong is the way to go. Good on Melissa. Well played. She took the phrase, "play stupid games, win stupid prizes," to a whole new level. Next time, maybe she should stick to Monopoly. At least then the only thing at stake is her dignity. Time to go no contact with your parents. They are extremely toxic. Here is the situation. Last summer I bought my grandparents' house. This house was the hangout spot for my friends and me throughout our childhood. This includes my friend Dave. The house has a sizable amount of land which consists of a lake and a gazebo. I was supposed to buy the house with my now ex-girlfriend Leslie. But going through the process of getting approved to buy, I found out that she has massive amounts of credit card and personal debt that she hid from me throughout our 4 years together. I decided to break up as a result. That was about 6 months ago. I met Leslie because Dave's long-term girlfriend Kim is Leslie's cousin. Dave and Kim are engaged and set to be married in April. When I was buying the house, they asked if they could have the ceremony at the gazebo, which I agreed to do. In December, I started dating again. Leslie has not taken this well at all. She thinks we'll get back together and has tried multiple times to make that happen. I've told her in no uncertain terms that isn't happening. Dave and Kim asked me not to bring a +1 to the wedding for Leslie's sake. I've told them that this request is ridiculous. This wedding is happening at my house, using my land, and I'm not allowed to bring a date because of a crazy ex? If that's the case, then they need to find a new venue for the wedding. They're angry about this given the short time frame of when the wedding is supposed to happen. So we are at an impasse. Am I the idiot? Edit, I'm fully aware of the liability issues, which is why I purchased, and they reimburse me for a special event insurance policy which will provide 100% coverage for any damages, claims, injuries, etc. It's one of the first things we did after I agreed to have the event in my home. The wedding will have a maximum, if everyone comes, of 75 guests, 5 catering staff and 5 security staff. The security is because this is an open area that anyone walking past can access. The house has hosted events twice this size. Logistically, it's been fine. Every person who is single, i.e. not in an established relationship, received an invitation with a +1, including Leslie and me. This talk came after I sent in my return card and indicated I was bringing a +1. Now they're saying they don't want me to have the +1 because Leslie blew up about it, and they're afraid of a blow-up at the wedding. Leslie indicated she intends to bring someone on her card. I don't know if she'll actually bring someone. They want to tell you who you can have at your own home and think it's fine. Not the idiot. Pull a reverse. Tell them Leslie isn't allowed on your property and watch their heads explode. I mean, if a wedding with only 75 guests warranted hiring 5 security staff, this sounds like a group well acquainted with drama. Right? I used to work at a venue that held 300-plus person weddings and they had 2, maybe 3 security people on staff. My own marriage reception was a traditional wedding venue, indoors, with a bar and close to 100 guests, and one tired, bored, off-duty cop for security. The only security act I recall him doing was escorting us to our vehicle with our envelope box. OP, agree not to bring a date. It's a small concession that actually protects your best interests. Whoever you brought would have the worst time navigating this ex-girlfriend drama. Instead, tell them that you're uncomfortable having Leslie on your property and thank them for bringing this to your attention before the wedding. You'd thought you could peacefully coexist with the wedding, but if bringing a date would cause problems, then they've opened your eyes to that not being the case. It's just better for everyone's mental health if she sits this one out. Feed them some nonsense about not wanting the ex-girlfriend drama to take the spotlight away from them on their special day. Excellent idea. Not letting the ex's drama take the spotlight is honestly the pull away from this whole incident anyway. This couple is getting married and they're having to navigate the feelings of someone else. No, that's frankly unfair to the couple getting married and they're being put in this situation at all. Anyway, if they want to dictate guest rules, they should pay for a venue. OP is being generous, and they're being entitled. My husband and I met 5 years ago. He lost his first wife the previous year, and he was struggling with his 2 kids who were toddlers then. Currently, they're tween and pre-tween. It wasn't the parenting he was struggling with, but he admitted he was lonely and missed having someone there. We dated casually for a few months and then more seriously. I was introduced to his kids after we'd been serious for 7 months and things were going well there. There were some rumbles when his first wife's family learned I was around the kids. My husband told me it would blow over and it was difficult for them to hear the kids were bonding with another woman. It wasn't until after we got married 2 years ago that I started to feel like it wouldn't blow over. The kids were acting out with me far more. We didn't have any real issues before. Sure, they were kids and didn't always listen, but it felt pretty evenly dispersed between my husband and myself when it came to not listening. But it was clear after a point that it was now happening to me far more than my husband. Things were only really starting to get more noticeable to me when I learned I was pregnant. My husband was thrilled, but the kids were not. Everyone told me it would take a while to get used to another baby joining the family. Give it time. My husband and I talked about my concerns and he told me he'd be on the lookout for anything, but he didn't. He was dismissive the next time I brought the topic up. Then he started dropping the rope and expecting me to do more. The kids saw their mom's family once every 2 weeks. My husband used to drop them off, but then he expected me to do it, and I was met with a very icy reception and hostile remarks if I asked the kids to be careful or anything like that. I told my husband, and he shrugged it off. The kids started saying, "You're not our mom," to me. They told me I couldn't tell them what to do. My husband heard them say it and he'd say nothing, and when I did, they got more angry. One time, while I was pregnant, I asked if they'd carry their dirty dishes so I could wash up, and they said no, and they didn't have to listen to me. I told them I was the adult in charge, so they did. It was a simple request and one I knew they were capable of doing. They told me their real mom's family said they didn't have to, and that I was a stupid witch who was trying to take them away. I tried to sit down and explain I didn't want to take them away from anyone or upset anyone, but I was another person who loved them. But the kids stormed off in a tantrum. My husband didn't care when I told him about it. When our son was born, it didn't get any better. I told him we needed marriage therapy and family counselling, and he needed to hear me or our marriage wouldn't survive. But he didn't make the time for it. He told me things would get better once the kids settled. He was still leaving it all up to me, and any time I called the grandparents to come and pick them up because I couldn't drop them off, it was like I was the enemy. The kids behaved even worse after visiting them. I was told by a friend who had lost a parent young and gained a step-parent afterward that intervening myself would make them resent me more and would likely end any chance to improve the relationship. She said if my husband wasn't stepping up, I needed to leave. She said there was a good chance my son would grow up in a very unhappy home if nothing changed and that I'd be miserable, more than I am now if I stayed. I tried to make it work. I tried to have another talk with my stepkids. I tried to insist on marriage counselling again. I got nowhere and it was still getting worse. To add to it, the kids reject their baby brother. There was no magical baby winning them over, as others had mentioned. It's not that I really believed in that, but I wanted to think it could happen. I also wanted to believe things could get better. But without my husband on my side, I know it won't. After Christmas, I reached the end of the line, packed up my and my son's things and went to my parents' house. I filed for divorce the next day. My husband didn't seem to believe I'd follow through with it, but after a couple of weeks he started saying all the right things and promising he'd do better. I told him he was too late with all of that. He said we built a family and the kids couldn't lose another mom. Even his parents, who never paid much attention to me, reached out and told me I couldn't do this to the kids. We needed to make it work, that it's never too late when kids are involved. Am I the idiot? Wait, he didn't say he doesn't want to lose you, but he did say that his kids could not lose another mom. So it's only about providing his kids with a mom. It's not about him missing you in his life. Good thing you got out. You would have had a lifetime of looking after kids that wipe their shoes on you and living with a man who sees you as a household appliance, there to take care of his kids. It's worse. It's about the kids losing a caretaker, not a mom. I would have called him on his nonsense and asked the kids if I was their mom on the spot. Good you got out. But don't get involved with anyone else till your child is grown. Make you and your son your priorities. You owe nothing to those kids or your terrible ex. I bet your ex's former in-laws and his kids will start to appreciate you now that all the labour of running a household and childcare for 2 small kids falls on your ex. And which woman will want your ex with all his baggage? Save yourself, girl. I, a teen, had a birthday last week. A lot of my frustration came out on my actual birthday. I want to know if that makes me the idiot or not. Basically, my parents always baby my tween sister. They treat her like she's a toddler most of the time. The only exception is when it comes to her friends and going out with them. Then she's tween, and of course she needs money to spend when she's with them, and of course she gets to do what she wants with them because she needs her independence. But other times she's only little and I should be a kinder or more generous brother. The whole generous brother thing comes from the nights our grandparents take our family out to eat. They rotate between my sister and me to choose a place. My parents want me to choose my sister's place because she doesn't like my place and only gets a basic thing that she doesn't like. But they don't care about the fact that I don't like her place either and end up going for just basic fries and nothing else. I also bring up that my parents never gave me money when I'd hang out with friends. I was told there are plenty of free things for kids to do and I should earn my own if I want to buy anything. My sister really wants us to be close, but she's selfish. She wants her own way and she complains when we eat at my chosen place. Or if we go to the amusement park near our home and I go on rides she doesn't like or isn't tall enough for, she tells me we should do all her stuff so we're together. I have told her a bunch of times about why I don't like stuff and we need not always do her stuff, but it gets me nowhere. My parents backing her up every time doesn't really help the situation either. They eventually said if I won't do her rides, then I just stand there because I don't get to have fun if she's not. Even if I offered to do one of her baby rides to do some of mine, they said no. They said I should think about my sister's feelings. They also got annoyed when I started earning money from babysitting as a young teen, but I wouldn't buy my sister stuff out of the money. She'd get upset if I didn't bring her home snacks too. But last week it was like a bomb going off. I got home from school and my parents and sister weren't there. I did my homework and some other stuff and then they came in and said they got my birthday meal from her favourite place and they didn't even get the plain fries that I typically eat when they order from there. They gave me this fruity rice and chicken dish that I couldn't stand. My sister was happy about it and they were enjoying it while I was getting increasingly angry. My parents got annoyed at me for not eating and they said it was my birthday treat. When they gave me gifts, my parents gave me a $20 gift card and my sister made me a photo frame at her art club. I gave them back. I said the 3 of them knowingly picked a place I didn't like and a meal I didn't like. My sister cried and she said it was her favourite, And I said that's her. And I asked her how she'd like me to get nothing but my favourite spicy ramen for her birthday. She started to cry and I rolled my eyes. My parents gave the gifts to me again and told me to be more gracious. So I took them and tossed them in the trash. I said they ruined my birthday anyway. I was grounded and told to apologise, but I didn't. The grounding ended yesterday, but they said I still need to make up for my behaviour and especially make it up to my sister, who I bullied. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your birthday was just another excuse for them to cater to your sister. They expected you to smile through it. Tossing the gifts was a little spicy, but honestly, so was their audacity. Maybe next year they'll remember who the birthday was for and that the candles were meant for you, not your sister's fan club. Hope you're right, but probably not. OP, you have 2 more years to go through before you can legally leave. Start setting your life up to work and recognize that your parents are never going to view both of you the same. Many parents culturally treat their male and female children differently. This is not your fault and you cannot change it. Please start planning for your own future. You cannot count on them for their assistance. I'm sorry you haven't gotten the love and kindness you deserve. And OP, make sure your parents cannot access your bank account, or you'll be all set up to leave and find yourself hundreds of dollars short because your sister wanted a good prom with a fancy dress, an expensive restaurant, and the works. Good luck.